Hey guys, if you are new to my channel or simply just not yet subscribed, my name is Brittany, and definitely make sure to hit that subscribe button. So I focus mostly on anything creepy or paranormal with a little bit of true crime in there, and then I also share a little bit about my life, and that's just kind of to connect more with you guys. So today is one of those episodes where I share a little bit about my life. When I was 15, my little brother, myself, and my mom went into a domestic violence shelter. So I'm going to kind of be talking about our experience in there and what we went through. Now, the reason we went in there was because of my dad. And if you guys are a longer subscriber, you know that both of my parents have passed away. Now, my dad, I love my dad, you know, he's my dad, but he did have the tendency to not always be the nicest, especially towards my mom. It's just, you know, there's wrong on both ends. It's a lot, but there's a lot that led up to us going there. It became a very toxic situation, a toxic household. Like, there was a time where my dad threw the Caladrill or Calamine, pink bottle lotion, and he threw it at my mom, but he missed, and it went into the overhead of the stove, bounced off, created a huge dent there, and then stuck in my mom's forehead. So he threw with such force. It was a brand new bottle, and they're decently heavy, for it to just like stand out, and she was picking pieces of a cap out of her forehead. And then there was a time where, you know, he painted the C word on the wall in reference to her, and he said just some horrible thing that I'm not really going to dive too much into it, like what exactly he said, and it became super toxic. But anyway, so it kind of became like enough was enough. We needed to get out, and we had left to go to a domestic violence shelter. Now, they only let you stay for 3 months, and you're essentially leaving the majority of your stuff behind. You're bringing a few bags with you, and that's it. So when you start over, you're starting over. And we went into the shelter. The shelter's a house filled with different people and families and stuff. There were 3 bathrooms, 4 bedrooms. We were in a bedroom that had our own bathroom, which I really enjoyed. We couldn't use the shower, didn't work right, so we only could use like the toilet, but I was fine with that. And we pushed it had 2 twin beds, so we pushed them together, and my little brother's 2 at the time, so he slept in between my mom and I. Now, throughout this, I was pretty much my mom's rock, and I didn't really break down at all, even though like I was having a hard time. But how I was thinking is, I'm going to try to smile through it. And I got so many compliments about, you know, how I can smile and like laugh and stuff, even though this is a hard situation. And all except for one girl. So there was this one lady, her son was a year older than me, and it was our last month at the shelter. She had told so this lady was, sorry, that's Jeff mowing. This lady was pretty, like, decently old. She was older than my mom. She was probably like, I don't know, 40s or 50, I wouldn't say 40s, maybe 50s. And from the start, she gave so many problems. How a shelter works, like a domestic violence shelter, is they can only buy certain groceries. If you get like things like Cinnamon Toast Crunch or things like that, like really name brand things, that's because somebody donated them. Otherwise, you get store brand things and they're only allowed to buy certain items. So they would buy like the big bags of frozen chicken and stuff like that. And she like freaked out about the food they had there, saying that she wouldn't eat it, but this is free food. They don't really have control over what they're getting and what they can like use it for. So she was just like really troubling from the start, really bad energy. She had said to another person that was staying there that she was annoyed by my smile and wanted to smack the smile off of my face. And I was super timid. So here I am, this 15-year-old girl who's just trying to be okay and like be the rock for her little brother and her mom, and she's saying these things. So I was pretty upset. We went to an advocate about it, and the advocate was like, I can't do anything about it unless I hear it or unless she actually hits you. It's like, oh, that's reassuring, thanks. It's sad to see some of the things that people are going through, and a lot of the times people come back. So we had a curfew. We had to be back by a certain time, and also nobody could know the location of where we were, just for our safety, other people's safety. And so if you didn't get back by curfew, then unless you had like a job that you had to stay past curfew and then like cleared it and stuff, then you would be kicked out of the house, because at that point you're not following the rules, you're putting everybody else at jeopardy and all that. So there was a point where somebody did they broke curfew and they did choose not to come back. But like we did develop some relationships within it, but it was difficult just like not being home, I guess. And then we ended up moving into a townhouse, and that wasn't the nicest. We did end up going back to my dad, and it was a mess. Like, I had to go to a counselor. I went to a couple counselors in there. The first counselor told me that sad wasn't a feeling. So I, at that point, wasn't good at expressing my emotions. Like, I've always been super emotional, but I wasn't good at expressing it, like how I was feeling. And so she asked how I was feeling about it all, and I was just like, I'm feeling sad. And she goes, sad is not a feeling. And I was like, okay, I don't want to go to you anymore. And I went to another counselor that said that he said that I was going to end up with somebody that was just like my dad. And I don't know why you would say that to a girl that was, in a domestic violence shelter. And like, not very reassuring. And then I had to go to another counselor. Now, this one made me write a letter to my dad about what I went through and how I felt. So she had said that the only way to make sure that my little brother, like my dad, wouldn't get custody of my little brother, was if I read the letter that was to the judge, to my dad, and I read it out loud to my dad in front of my room. And that was one of the hardest things I've done. I was shaking. I felt so sick. It was a 7-page letter, you guys. Like, it was long. And my dad, like, it was bad. And to put somebody through that, I feel like is very traumatizing. Like, to make them do that. But I did it to protect my little brother, and we ended up going back. So, which, you know, it wasn't my choice. I do love my dad. Like, they were just better apart, you know? But guys, it was a lot. Like, I hope you've never been through anything like that. But just to leave everything and try to start over, and then I guess it's even more upsetting to go back, because then it kind of feels like it was for nothing. Like you went through that for nothing. At least that's kind of how I feel. And like, just some of the things that, you know, we were subjected to there, and just going through the process. Like, I had to leave my dog, and that was hard because she was my best friend and my absolute best friend, and I barely got to see her. So that was really hard, and just the process in general. So if you guys are struggling with, you know, domestic abuse, or have went through this process or anything, feel free to reach out to me anytime. And, you know, domestic abuse goes both ways too. It can be a guy doing it to a girl, which is statistically more common, or it can be a female doing it to a male. Like, it can go either way. But it's scary how common it is when, you know, you're supposed to love that person. So that's my little personal story for today. Definitely make sure to like this video, hit the subscribe button if you want me to do more personal stories. And until next time, I love you guys. Bye.